Hello, everyone, and we got some great news for Vechain and Cardano for you. Cardano has partnered with Huawei. Now, after looking at this, I think this is more of a collaboration than really a partnership because it just means that Cardano is now going to leverage Huawei's cloud infrastructure for furthering Cardano's goals. Huawei's, I don't think, is actually using Cardano's technology, but you can get Cardano to leverage things on Huawei, which actually expands the possibilities in Asia. Huawei obviously is kind of like equivalent to almost like Amazon over there, although the company honestly has not been doing so well ever since the US cut off the chip supply because Huawei does depend on the United States for chips. So, according to You Today, Cardano community is buzzing with the news of a new partnership between Emergo, a founding entity of Cardano blockchain, and Huawei Cloud, one of the world's leading cloud computing firms. Now, Charles said he didn't even know about this partnership, but Cardano's actually kind of like has three things. There's the Cardano Foundation, Emergo, and IOHK. Charles is IOHK. This is Emergo. This collaboration is set to bring Huawei's cloud infrastructure into the Cardano ecosystem, a move that has been met with widespread enthusiasm from the crypto community. The partnership is expected to bolster Cardano capabilities and extend its reach, as well as be able to use Huawei cloud infrastructure to build Web3 solutions on Cardano. That's the big thing, building more apps and building more functionality, getting more usage on Cardano. At least they have an infrastructure to do so, at least in Asia. This is going to spur growth across the Asia Pacific and Africa regions. Obviously, in US, you have like Google Cloud, you have like Amazon Cloud and stuff like that. Huawei, especially if you want to get apps into China, probably the way to do it. Additionally, the collaboration is set to enhance the scalability and interoperability of Cardano cloud services. It's very nice. They'll also gain access to Huawei's marketplace where they can get more exposure to their products. And that's a platform used by numerous major organizations, especially in Asia, which will further extend the reach of its Web3 capabilities. Very, very important. Get your stuff out there. The partnerships marks the first step towards a larger collaboration between Emergo and Huawei in the future, aimed at driving commercial adoption through validator nodes, events, and technological collaborations. As the Cardano community eagerly awaits for further details and updates on the integration with Huawei's cloud infrastructure, there is a growing sense of anticipation for potential benefits and opportunities this partnership will bring. At the time of the writing, ADA, Cardano's native cryptocurrency, was up 1.23 in the last 24 hours. This was 2 days ago. Obviously, it's down right now, below 50 cents. So, then there's a bunch of like a crappy little TA below that, but that doesn't really matter. That's not part of the Cardano Huawei news. But it's a pretty interesting collaboration. It's really to expand their markets in Asia and giving them the infrastructure to do so, which could bring them more clients in the future. Don't really expect much of an effect on price immediately, obviously, as Cardano still does not have USDC for whatever reason. And yeah, they need more liquidity. But it's a good stepping stone if they actually want to step into Asia. And no, this one is not handled by Charles. This one's actually handled by Emergo. So I'm a little bit more optimistic on this than other things. On to the VeChain. They're tokenizing UFC merchandise. So they were tokenizing the sports racing stuff with their sports racing partner. Now they're going to tokenize UFC stuff. Now VeChain has obviously like worked with UFC for a long time in terms of like promotion, but now they're actually doing tokenization. I mean, like I'm generally not that interested in sports partnerships in crypto, but if you can actually put some of the stuff on chain, it does provide some usage. So they're tokenizing gloves in partnership with the UFC. The new gloves will contain NFC chips that track fight data and provide blockchain evidence that they are genuine. So obviously, if you're doing collectibles, stuff that athletes wear, like you want to buy a Kobe jersey, you want to know that's a game used jersey. Just like it's a fight used glove. You want to know if it's the glove that punched that guy out, right? Like if you want the Mike Tyson versus like Jake Paul fight gloves, you want to know that that's the glove that ended Jake Paul's life. That's going to be a very, very hot item. So, according to April 12th blog post from VeChain, gloves worn by UFC fighters will soon be tokenized and their identities tracked on the VeChain Tor network, so you can buy like genuine merchandise. So, this is actually pretty cool. I think this also has to do with the MAAS service, because that was like huge for tokenization, NFTs, and RWA. So this is like real world asset tokenization. You're tokenizing memorabilia on the Vechain blockchain. I'm not really sure how many transactions this is going to actually result in, but if Vechain can keep bringing in more sports stuff into the fold, keep tokenizing stuff, this could actually become a pretty lucrative business. In terms of like VTHO burn, I don't think this will actually provide this much. I mean, like, I don't know how much selling or trading there is in this memorabilia, like especially the stuff that's actually tokenized. I would imagine it does not cause a gigantic amount of transactions. After the fight, the athletes will donate and give away their gloves, making them into collector's items. The chips inside each pair will allow a buyer to check the authenticity to item via a Vechain Tor network smart contract. Fighters will begin wearing gloves at UFC 300, which is scheduled for April 13th. Pretty cool. And remember, if you want to buy those gloves that ended Jake Paul's life, you might actually want this stuff because, if another YouTuber wants to start something with, you can just say these gloves like, I possess the gloves that ended Jake Paul's life. And so that's what Vechain is actually doing. In its post, Vechain claimed that the system will prevent fraud in the secondary market, which is pretty rampant because there's a lot of fake stuff in the secondary market, obviously, which is a common problem for buyers who seek to own gloves worn during particular fights. With the NFT and with the NFT chip, I suppose someone can swap out the NFT chip, but that involves quite a bit more work. This does actually provide authenticity, and hopefully this can actually expand from UFC to other things. They announced that the initial set of 12 exclusive gloves will be given to A-list celebrities, including Joe Rogan. So Rogan might actually auction them off sometime. UFC CEO Dana White will also be making a live presentation to announce the partnership. So, I mean, it's a lot of PR. I'm still not extremely excited about this, but, if they're tokenizing things on chain, that's at least a stepping stone to RWA and, like, other things like that. They need more assets to actually tokenize. But if they start, like, tokenizing, like, UFC gear after every single fight, that could actually be another stream of business for Vechain. And it looks like they are going in that direction. So maybe this Vechain UFC thing goes further than just advertising. It might actually be tokenizing like memorabilia from the UFC, which could actually get big because, sports memorabilia is a big industry. But in terms of like the VTHO burn, probably not that much, at least for right now. But if they can start tokenizing other sports memorabilia, it could actually be really, really big. So, some people are having the same concerns I do. They weren't impressed because they're not going to have massive VTHO token burn. They're like, hey, that's a whole 10 VTHO burn per year. UFC going to topple Walmart China in usage. So, essentially, yeah, I mean, like, you would have to have a lot of tokenization for sports memorabilia. Vechain's going to have to work with, like, the NBA, NFL, and things like that for this to actually matter. But it's a start, at least. The third thing is China might actually be starting to bid on Bitcoin soon, and that's via Hong Kong. So mega whales with over 10,000 are accumulating ahead of Hong Kong's approval of the first spot Bitcoin ETFs can happen next week. I definitely think next week could possibly be the week we break through 80K because of these Hong Kong ETFs. Nothing's really for sure. I'm not exactly sure how much Hong Kong will actually buy in terms of Bitcoin. Remember, Hong Kong is only a small slice of China, but many rich Chinese businessmen do have interest there, and they could actually use Hong Kong as a ramp to buy crypto because they can't actually buy it in the mainland. So I think they are going to approve the Bitcoin ETFs ahead of halving, probably a week before halving, and that could give us the last leg up before the halving. Remember, we dumped today to 66, 67. We could go back up to 73 very, very easily next week. Assuming that nuclear war doesn't start in the Middle East, we definitely could. And Hong Kong, like I said, could actually represent some decent chunk of Chinese money. Now, it won't be the majority or all the Chinese money, but at least represent some chunk. So maybe, you can get something going there. Hong Kong likely to approve both Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs as soon as Monday. Definitely could be a huge boon for Ethereum. And they could definitely be ahead of the US because they now have Ethereum ETFs instead of just Bitcoin ETFs. So hopefully this will spark both starting a pre-halving bull run, but into post-halving as well. And we won't have issues like Grayscale and FTX selling with this Hong Kong ETF. Obviously, it's not going to move nearly as much money as a US ETF, but definitely a significant amount of money. People are talking about 25 billion or so. And that could definitely help our bull run expectations, especially heading into the halving. And those people that are expecting a post-halving dump, this might start to disappoint them at some time. I actually think we're just about done dumping at this point, and I think like it was like an initial shock. So hopefully next week will be a good week. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.